Hi everyone. Just seeing all your comments. It's like you all just came out of like instantly as soon as I clicked broadcast. So, have you guys all been? Oh, you gotta forgive me. This is the first time I'm doing a live stream with my computer. The last time I did a live stream was on my iPad, and there was literally next to no controls on the iPad. But here on my computer, there are so much live stream controls. It really is unwieldy. It's overwhelming the amount of controls I've got here. So yeah, so let's see how you guys all doing. Why did you skip episode 1? I'll explain that, why I skipped episode 1 of The Mandalorian season 3, so stay tuned for that. You can see here, versus update, review, Q&A, these are the things that we'll be doing on this live stream, so yeah, so let's see. McKinney's Movies, I'm glad you made it too. Hey Melissa, hey CJ, Big Bash, Odil, great to see that you guys managed to make it. I want to quickly ask, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me and can you see me? If you can post in the chat that you can, that would be great. Yeah, you can hear. That's what Michelle Bonner says. I almost said the other thing. Yeah, Odile, it has been a long time since I've done a live stream. Yes, you can. That's very good. I'll just tell you guys right now, your chats, I'm noticing loud and clear. That's excellent. We can hear, and yes. Love your work. Kindly review Wednesday. Okay. I am so sorry if I get this wrong. Sumitra, gosh. Thank you very much for your super chat. That is one thing I would ask all you guys to do, because the last live stream I did on my iPad, it was so hard to keep up with certain comments, but the live chats were very easy to monitor and keep track of. So yeah. Yeah, you can hear and see me. So what I was going to say was that there definitely is a delay in the live stream. So when I asked you the questions, like, can you see and hear me, and you guys responded, there was like at least a 10 to 15 second delay. So keep that in mind. Just because I don't respond instantly doesn't mean I can't see it. It just means that there's a delay with the live stream and when you guys are sending me these messages. What did I think of Creed 3? Have I seen Creed 3? No, I have not seen Creed 3 yet. Quite a lot of movies are coming out this month. It's so overwhelming. In fact, I was actually going to watch Scream 6 tomorrow and give you guys a review of that, as I reviewed Scream 5 last year. But it just started snowing. And literally, people that have had plans to go out here in the UK, it's like a lot of people are saying we're going to wait because it's just so much snow that came out of nowhere. Kindly review Wednesday. Let me go back to that super chat. Yes, I did want to cover Wednesday, and I wanted to do a versus video of the Addams Family, the two movies with Wednesday. But well, I'll tell you guys soon why. But I got a new computer, and that really did slow a lot of things down. And my previous computer was so slow. I'll actually show you my previous computer actually on this live stream, but it was so slow that I couldn't even get a lot of those videos done. I could only work on like 2 videos tops at a time on my previous computer because I was that low on storage, and I had that computer for like 7 years. So yeah, let's see. It's snowing for you as well? Yeah, it is. Very cold weather. Please tell me you like The Last of Us show. I will talk about that in a second. Have I seen Puss in Boots 2? Yes, I have. And that is something I'll also talk about soon as well. Let's just see some more of your comments here. Yeah, I'm glad you can all see and hear me very clearly. The G Gamer says, I'm curious to see your opinions on episode 3. Episode 3 is a love it or hate it episode. Have you seen the new season of The Flash? What do you think of Thorne, Zoom, and Savitar returning? Is that what's happening? I've stopped watching The Flash years ago. It just got so bad. Like, it was just painful to watch. Like, it came to a point where me and my brother would just hate watching it because it was so bad it was good. But then it just got so bad it was bad that I was like, okay, now this hurts too much. Because there was a time where The Flash show, with season 1 and 2, I said it was my favorite live-action comic book show on at the time. And to see it, like, just spiral down like this is very sad. Drake Holly says Scream 6 is already coming out tomorrow. Can you believe it? Yeah, I know. It's like just 1 year, I think. 1 year and a couple of months, I think, after the last one came out. Which, if you look back to Scream 1 and 2, those released like 1 year apart as well. So it was Scream 3, I think, that took about 3 years, I think, to come out. So, yeah. Most anticipated movie of yours for 2023. Right now, I'll say The Flash. Because Michael Keaton looks great. I've heard nothing but great reviews, and the movie apparently is so good that the studio did not want to get rid of Ezra Miller. You know, which would have been the easier thing for them to do eventually. Say, okay, let's just get this movie out, then get rid of him. The fact that even considering to keep him on must speak volumes of how good that movie is. And even when David Zaslav, the new CEO of Warner Brothers, came in, usually when new CEOs come in, they want to just get rid of everything that the previous regime had planned. But even he is keeping this Flash movie and is like very excited about it. So this movie must be really, really good. And it's directed by Andy Muschietti, who did a wonderful job directing the It movies. Second one wasn't as good, but his directing capabilities are very strong. Ever watched The Walking Dead show? Yes, I did watch season 1 because a friend told me to. The first couple of episodes were good, but then I started to get bored, and then the further I went down, I was like, I said to my friend, I was like, dude, this is really just, it's not doing it for me. It started out good, but it's not doing it. He says, no, keep watching it till at least till the end of the season. So I did, and yeah, it just really wasn't for me. I didn't go back after that. I watched up to 8 and 9. Can't wait. There's a lot of your questions which are all coming in. Let's see. Eric, will you ever do a versus video on DreamWorks movies? Yes, I will, and I already have plans to do so. And I've already said to you guys, if my Patreon hits 100 patrons, I will do a How to Train Your Dragon trilogy versus video. The reason why I can't do it like in the normal way is because it gets copyright claimed. Like any Universal video movie you do gets copyright claimed, so I don't want to do that. But if I reach 100 patrons, I will release a completely unmonetized versus video of the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. Okay, so I want you guys to keep all your questions in mind because I'm going to get on with this video now, this live stream, the stuff I wanted to talk about. And then when we get to the Q&A session, you can ask me these questions again, and then I will properly answer them. But right now, let's get on to these topics I've got right here. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is the Versus update. Now, do you guys all see where it says Versus update in the Last of Us font here? This is going to be me talking about the updates for my Last of Us Versus videos. So, I want you guys, do you see that Versus update? Comment if you do. Do you see that? Where it says Versus update? Let's see. Yeah, I just buy some too. People say, yeah, they see it. Remember, there is a delay, so it's okay. I'm gonna get you. If you've sent your messages, I will respond. Keep in mind, by the way, that I'm using this live stream software for the very first time, so I don't even know how this is all gonna look. I hope you guys all see everything. Okay, so keep looking at that Versus update. Keep looking at it. There we go. Yeah. You guys are gonna have questions, and I gotta say, I'm quite disappointed too by this. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys, about that. Okay, now here, let me explain to you why this is. The reason why is because when I set out to do these Last of Us Versus videos, before we do, let me just see. Did you guys see what happened? Did you guys see what happened? Did the graphic change? The text change? Did it? I'm seeing, yes it did, yep. Oh, the G-Gamer, thank you very much for waiting for questions. Okay, so yeah, you guys have seen that. So, let me explain the reason why I've stopped doing the Last of Us Versus videos. Now, first of all, when I created them in the first place, I did it as a test for myself, like an exercise. I was like, let me see if every single episode that comes out for The Last of Us, let me see if within 1 week I can make a Versus video. And if for those of you that know, have been with me making these Versus videos, they are not easy to make. They really are. They take a lot of time to plan. They take a lot of time to write. I have to make sure that I'm not just rambling, but I'm talking about things that are important. They take a long time, so getting it done in a week is no easy thing, especially when there's other videos I have to work on at the same time. But the reason I ended up cancelling this is because every week I still managed to get, for 2 weeks I did get these versus videos out. And I was actually very pleased with myself for that, because my computer that I was using before this new one I bought, it was dying out. So I'll tell you, I had no fun making those versus videos. But at the same time, I still had to make sure that even though my computer was so slow and on its last legs, I wanted to make sure that I did not compromise on the quality of the versus video. So making it was no picnic. It was not fun at all for me, which is unfortunate because I always have a lot of fun making these versus videos. But yes, also copyright, as you say right there, Big Herms Federis. Oh, no, Big Bash. The comments are scrolling so fast. Yeah, Big Bash, the copyright claims are also problematic as well. And my computer to export a video takes like 6 hours. That's how long it takes to make an alteration. So one copyright claim means I have to spend like time changing the video, and then 6 hours later I can export it and give it another go. So the reason I did end up doing it is because, so I got 2 videos out with my old computer. Was not easy at all. But right around that time, Apple released the new computer that I was looking to get. They finally released it. They were supposed to release it last year, but they didn't release it last year, so they waited a few months, and then they finally released it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get the new computer, and I'll continue my versus videos on that. But here's the thing. The computer took a while to come here, and by the time it came, I had to set it up. And for those of you that have ever tried to take, like, you know, files from your previous computer and transfer them to your new computer, it's like moving house. There is so much files you have to drag over, and I've had that computer for 7 years. So having to drag 7 years worth of files over to this new computer took a long time. And in that time, The Last of Us Episode 4 was about to release, and I hadn't even finished my versus video for Episode 3, so already I was behind schedule, which I was on schedule with the first 2, but I was losing schedule on the 3rd episode. And then by the time I had copied everything across, then you also have to make sure that your software is updated for the new computer. So you then have to update your software, and then that takes extra time, and then you have to learn how to use the new software, and that takes extra time. By that time, we were already on episode 4 or 5 of The Last of Us that was releasing, so I was a couple episodes off. And then, the computer that I had, it turns out there was an issue with it. So I had to send it back and then get a replacement sent over, and that took more time. And at that point, episode 6 was coming out. So you can see that I'm like 3 episodes behind at this point. And at this point, I literally just finished the script for episode 3. So my whole goal of trying to get 1 episode done a week was really not working out. And by the time I got the new computer, and I had everything sorted again, it was like moving house again. By the time I got that all sorted, I think the damage is already done. We were approaching the end of the show with like 2 to 3 episodes left, and I was like, I don't think this is going to pan out anymore now. I don't think people are going to want to stick around to watch this. So it's a shame, but around the time that happened, more stuff was starting to come out. Like I said, this month in March, there is a lot of movies coming out, and I want to talk about Scream 6. I want to talk about Puss in Boots 2, which is a video I've got planned. I'm not going to tell you exactly how, but that I actually do have that plan, so don't worry, I am going to review Puss in Boots 2 and talk about it in a bit more of a deeper way as well. So, yeah, that's ultimately why I was like, okay, I'm going to have to cancel these Last of Us Versus videos. I did record the voiceover for my Versus video for episode 3, and I did actually edit the voiceover too. I just haven't got any visuals on it, so I might put it on Patreon as like a podcast, because I have done that on Patreon. So I don't do it often, but when there's a video that I was going to make, and then I didn't end up doing it, rather than just discarding it entirely, I did put it on Patreon so you guys could actually watch it. So, yeah, Odil, you did, so 3, so I guess it was, yeah, yeah, that's the thing though, so it was unfortunate, but literally I went through the process of getting a brand new computer, so hopefully other videos I make, they start to come out at a faster rate. That's the goal. So yeah, if it's not snowing like crazy tomorrow, because I was planning to go watch Scream 6 tomorrow, but now I'm not sure. If it's not snowing like crazy, I will probably go and watch it tomorrow and then come back home and make a review for you guys. So, yeah, that's basically what's going on with The Last of Us, the whole situation with The Last of Us Versus video. So, yeah, what do you guys think about that? You can comment and I'll answer any questions you have with regards to that. And then we can move on to the Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2 review. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying to that. Well, it's quite a few asking me how am I doing, how's my day? Well, my day is going very good. How about you guys? Jamie Reddy, how are you doing? I'm doing very good. Yako the Volcanic Muto, you have been with my channel for so long. Big, huge thanks to you. And the same with Amina Muhammad, who's been watching me for a long time. Big Bash. A lot of you guys. I'm so glad that you're on the live stream. Let's see. Like I said, this is the first time I'm doing this kind of thing. Let's see. Rest in peace. What did I think of episode 3 of The Last of Us? Okay, I'll go into that a bit. I thought it was decent at best. I did not hate it like people thought I would. You can't see me. I did not hate it like people thought I would, but I didn't love it either. It got a bit too... Let me just say this. By the time it got to the piano playing and the strawberries, you guys know what I'm talking about. I just said this. I said to myself, I was like, oh, come on. I was like, this is like, I started to laugh. I was like, this is like a chick flick, but with dudes. It's like, the stuff that was happening before was alright and it was fine. But then when it got to those things, I was like, okay, this is a bit too quick. It didn't feel, it felt like it was just rushing through it a bit. And by the time I got to the end, when he says, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I was thinking to myself, I was like, this seems very... I'm sure there's people out there that will find this endearing, but to me it seemed very Hollywood. Like, I felt like I've seen this romantic kind of like babble before. But I didn't hate the episode, and the best parts of the episode was, of course, Joel and Ellie, which is what I think they should have done. But I did like seeing how Joel and was it Bill is the character? I can't remember. I did like seeing those two. There was a bit of a origin as to how those two met and how they're both skeptics and how they're both paranoid and how they both got along. I did like that. And there was a scene where Ellie read a letter to Joel at the end. That was really good. So the stuff with Joel and Ellie was excellent. The stuff with the rest of the characters, there was good stuff in there, but I thought it was a bit too convenient. Like how those two were able to live for so long without having pretty much no trouble throughout the whole thing. You'd expect them to have some more trouble at least. That's what I thought. So yeah. So, yeah, that's what I thought of the episode. If I had to give it a score, I think I gave it... What did I give it? I can't remember, surprisingly. I think it was a low 7, I think. I think it was a low 7 I gave it, I think. I'll have to go back to that podcast, because I was going back and forth between a high 6 or a low 7. I can't remember what I gave it. So, yeah. That's what I think about that. And... now we're going to move on. When the show Sam Galloway says, when the show ends, can you do a verse video of the whole show? I probably won't do a verse video of the whole show. I might do a live stream talking about the whole show. I might. That's something I'm thinking of, because I do want to do more live streams now. Because I could not do live streams like this with my previous computer, because it would overheat. But this computer is so... yeah, I'm just listening to it. It's so silent, it's so quiet. The other one, the fans would go off like crazy, and it would give me anxiety. No joke. So, yeah, I'll definitely consider doing it. Eric, do Scream 6 versus Scream 1. I don't think there's a need for that. Scream 1 instantly will win. Scream 1 would win against even 2 and 3. But, yeah, one thing that I'm considering doing is actually, when I do quick movie reviews or versus videos, I'll come on a live stream and then do spoiler talks for these movies. So that's one thing I'm considering. Would you ever give a score like negative 1 out of 10 or any negative numbers? No, that's not something I personally do. Just keep it simple rather than... for some people would find that overcomplicating things. So just a 1 to 10 system for me. I don't even do a 0 out of 10, really. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to just The Mandalorian. We're not going to talk now about The Last of Us. So there we go. We're just talking about The Mandalorian. Now, before we get on to Season 3, Episode 2, let's talk about Season 3, Episode 1. Now, naturally, you'll be thinking, why didn't you review Episode 1? Well, that's because it was hardly an episode at all. it was just a prologue. Like, do you know in a video game when you get the big opening cutscene, and then you're thrown right into the action of the game? That's what this first episode felt like. It was a very good prologue, but that being said, it was just a prologue. It just set everything up that's coming, but it didn't really give us anything beyond that. So I thought that was really quite poor. The episode was very good. I still really enjoyed it. If I had to give it a score, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. But there wasn't anything to talk about. It was just very much a setup. So if I did a less binge watch video, I would have like just rushed past that first episode very quickly. In about 20 seconds, I would have rushed past it. So yeah, that's what I thought about the first episode. There was the only one thing I will talk about is that there was, when he went to hyperspace or hyperdrive, one of the two, when the Mandalorian was in hyperspace, you did see some shadows of some flying creatures in the hyperdrive, like in the space zone on the side. So if you've seen Star Wars Rebels, you'll know exactly what that is. And I don't know if they'll pay that off here, or if they're going to wait and pay that off in the Ahsoka show. So that'll be very interesting for sure. So yeah, that's what I thought of episode 1. Now I'm going to do episode 2. Now I just saw season 3 episode 2 before this live stream actually. And I gotta say, season 3 episode 2, it was a lot of fun. Now this is, if there's 2 words I can use to describe this episode, it is cute and horrifying. The opening of the episode is very much like kiddie Star Wars. You know, it tries to be like more family friendly. That's what the opening of the episode was when they go down to that woman who's a space mechanic. It was very played for laughs, very kiddie, but it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. But as soon as they get over to Mandalore, or what's left of Mandalore, it all of a sudden turned into something like a horror episode. Like, these are monsters that I'm sure Star Wars could have shown, and they would have just seemed like everyday droids, or everyday enemies, or everyday aliens. But the way it was shot, the way it was directed, the way it was presented as well, it seemed very much like they were going for a horror vibe, and it was quite intense. I was surprised at how intense it was. And, yeah, Mando really got it bad. He was really getting, like, not only the crap beaten out of him, but he also, like, got, like, injections constantly in the neck to keep him quiet, and then also to transfer his blood. And I like when he sent over Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda in this has become a lot more capable. Baby Yoda before was always, like, would do a couple things here and there, but ultimately people would have to look after Baby Yoda. But I really do like how in this episode Baby Yoda is jumping around, Baby Yoda is using the Force a lot more easily, Baby Yoda even speaks a little bit, like does some baby talk. So it was really cool to see, like, Grogu actually grow as a character. I liked how Baby Yoda will, like, just do these big Jedi jumps. So it shows that, if you've seen the Book of Boba Fett, it shows that Baby Yoda has actually grown, which, and, like, grown through, not just in terms of mannerisms, it's not just a baby anymore, it's also grown in terms of, like, skill sets. Luke's training, which, I don't know how long he's been there, I think I heard 2 years or something, I can't remember, but however long Baby Yoda was there with training with Luke Skywalker, clearly the training has paid off, for sure. It was really fun watching that training. It really, the training before, and then seeing how he's putting it into practice. It was so good. So I thought that's what I mean when I say cute and horrifying. It was actually really good. And Mandalore, I liked the way, like, the cinematography was beautiful as they were navigating around. The cinematography, I would say, in even the first episode and this one, has really been stepped up from the first 2 seasons. As a matter of fact, it actually has stepped up from even the movies Disney are releasing. Like, the recent Disney movie I saw that was released was, the 2 recent ones was Lightyear and Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think. I think those are the 2 most recent ones I saw. And the cinematography here is so much better in these 2 episodes than it was in those 2 big budget movies. So, props to them. Like, props to the prop department, props to the special effects team. They did a really wonderful job. How would I rate the CGI? The CGI, I would say, was really good. I think there was only one shot when they were coming down. You know, when Mando was using his jetpack to float downwards, and the same with Bo-Katan. The CG green screen in that, or the volume if they were using it, was a bit obvious there. That's all I would say. That was a bit, I was like, okay, I can see the green screen drop down a little bit there. Like, the quality of the green screen was a bit more obvious there. Yeah, that was great. I also liked, bear with me a second here. I also liked the horror-like design of the crab-like droid that showed up, and the creature that was actually in it did very much seem like it had multiple arms, and it was like had like one organic-looking eye. It reminded me a lot of General Grievous. Like it was following that kind of design, and the sharp spikes behind it, that was like something that felt like something out of Alien. Like it seemed very robotic and alien at the same time. That's very true, Adam Grunther. But yes, I did really like the design of it. In terms of production, I think The Mandalorian is better here than it has ever been. Like seriously, this is top-notch quality in terms of production value. And the tension was big. It's like, you know, they're not going to kill off Mando in this just episode 2, but I did feel danger for him and for Grogu, because as Grogu was escaping, those space lizards were also trying to come after him too. So, yeah, that was really cool. And that droid that Grogu said, you know, travel here, because the Mando in episode 1 and this episode has been teaching him things as they've been traveling. So that was really cool. I did very much enjoy that, how Grogu is learning these things. It shows that Grogu is more intelligent than we think, because I always thought Grogu was capable of understanding things, but this is where you realize, no, he's actually intelligent. So that was very good. I enjoyed that a lot. And in terms of, I like how this episode, like I said, it started off very kiddie, but then it got very dark. That's what I wanted in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And a lot of people thought that too, going by the trailer, that it's going to start off comedic, like typical Ant-Man, and then it would go to a very dark place, which it didn't, unfortunately. And I like that this episode did that. It was very, very good. And there was also callbacks to the Clone Wars, if you had seen that, and even Rebels, if you had seen that. Bo-Katan gives a lot of references. Like when she goes to Grogu, she goes, you know, me and Jedi, we got along before. I've had Jedi friends in the past. So that was really good. I was like, if for those of us that have seen the Clone Wars, it was cool to see her like mention her past about in the Clone Wars, because it really does make the world feel more rich and lived in, and like it's got, like, even if you haven't seen Mandalorian season 1 and 2, it's like if you've seen the Clone Wars, you know a lot of the lore. I like how they like bring the lore into continuity here. That is really good. And Bo-Katan was a badass in this. She was they show that she was a badass before in the previous season, but this is the first one where I really found her to be a badass. The way she was like fighting, the way she was like just with hand to hand, then using the blades, and then using the Darksaber as well. It was really cool to see. So, and when she put her helmet on, this is the first time I was actually like, wow, that is the animated character brought to live action. I don't know why I never really got that vibe before. I think it was the lighting or something, but when she was in the caves of Mandalore, in a very darkly lit place, and she had the helmet on, and she was flying around and everything, it really did look like the animated show brought to life, and I really did love that. So, yeah, those are pretty much, I'm just going through my notes here. Those are pretty much all the things that I really enjoyed about this episode. It was a very fun episode, and that kind of is my problem with this episode too. Now, I don't have many flaws or complaints, but I do have a couple. And one of them is, what story are we getting here? We know what the Mandalorian is trying to do. He wants to go back to his people, and the only way to redeem himself, because he took his mask off and broke his oath, the only way to be redeemed by them, and redeemed in his own eyes too, is if he finds these waters and all that you mentioned. So he wants to bathe in the waters and all that. I get that. I do get that. The thing that I did not like was that, is that it? Like, it feels very low stakes, or low scale. I understand that it's a smaller story, but we're in Season 3 now. I'm expecting more, and I feel like we're not really getting more. It feels like there's still... It's like, this episode very much could have been just... It feels like it could have been a standalone episode. There's a couple things in there to make it feel like it's actually contributing to the story, but ultimately it feels like it's very... It's like we didn't need all this action. He could have just come, it could have been abandoned. It feels like the action is very good, but it feels like it doesn't really... It didn't feel like it was necessary. It was very fun, but it was too standalone this episode, it felt. The only things that I think that did not feel standalone about it was the character development of Bo-Katan, as I did like how she really came out of her shell, and she wasn't so stiff like she was in the previous episodes of Season 2 and stuff. So I did enjoy that. And I like how Grogu doesn't even have to bother learning the Jedi mind trick. All he has to do is just make a baby noise, and then Bo-Katan went from, "What are you doing here? Where is he?" Like, she just immediately kind of like just gave in to Grogu and was like, "Take me to him, let me help you," that kind of thing. I found that funny. And when Bo-Katan is not being so stoic, I do think that she actually is more of a fun character. So I hope she doesn't get completely loose, but I hope she gets loosened up a bit like she did in this episode. But yeah, she was a badass in this and definitely was the highlight. And she cooks too. She actually did that in the episode. I found that, it was the obvious joke, but I found that funny. But yeah, she gave the Mandalorian something to kind of like get better, some soup, and he never even had it, even though every Mandalorian apparently really knows how to, has already had it except for him. Yeah, so I'm just looking at you guys, what you're saying. Yeah, the thing is, I did like this episode, but yeah, it feels like I expect better at this point. I really do. I expect much better. There was also some conveniences in the episode that I thought was a bit too, like, how that was too much of an easy fix. If it was any other character, like a no-name character, they would have been dead, or they would have been done for. Like, the time it took for Baby Yoda to go and find Bo-Katan, then bring her back, you would have think that droid, or that whatever that was, it would have been done with Mando at that point. But it still wasn't, conveniently. So the story is just not doing much, and we're 2 episodes in right now. And meanwhile, The Bad Batch Season 2 Episode 3, it gave so much story and character development in just 20 minutes. For those of you that have not seen The Bad Batch, it would be good if you watched all of it, but just watch Season 2 Episode 3. It's about the clones. It's about Commander Cody, who is the one that was Obi-Wan's trusted clone trooper, and he's the one in Episode 3 that gave Obi-Wan his lightsaber back, and then he said to the clones after Order 66 was done, blast him. So this episode was about him after Order 66, and he's got his Order 66 programming, and it shows what life is like for him now that Order 66 is done and the Jedi are gone. It was very fascinating, and it also had one of the Bad Batch members in there, the Crosshair, the one who went rogue. That was a fantastic, like, character study of a clone trooper who is programmed with Order 66, and it was in an animated show. And in spite of that, The Bad Batch Episode 3 gave so much story and character development in just 20 minutes, and the show gets more time and gives... And the Mandalorian, in comparison, gets more time and gives you less story. How does that work exactly? I really think they should be doing a better job. I genuinely do. And The Bad Batch, believe it or not, you guys probably won't believe this, but trust me when I say, even though this episode of Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2 was dark, The Bad Batch is much darker, much more mature with its story too. I'm not kidding. It really is. It really is great. And the Clone Wars was also incredibly serious and dark as well. Rebels was not really dark. That was more Disneyfied. But the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, those are not Disneyfied anywhere near as much. Well, the Clone Wars was never Disneyfied. Bad Batch a little bit. But even that is like pushing things at points, which I really do like. Storytelling is fantastic in the Bad Batch. And just that one episode is better than both of these episodes. Like, it blows... Season 3, Episode 1 and 2, The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 3 blows those episodes out of the water. It is no comparison. So, yeah, this episode, it was a good episode, Season 3, Episode 2, but by Season 3 standards, I expect better at this point. Well, at Season 3, and I want to see more. I want more of the story. I don't want to feel like we're just tiptoeing through the story again, or through the season again, rather. I want to see more of it, so... yeah, this episode for me, it was good, it was fun, but it definitely loses probably an additional point, seeing as we're in Season 3, and it's still kind of doing what it normally does, which is that it just gives you pretty much a standalone episode. So, my score for The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2, is just a flat 7 out of 10. It was good, it was fun, but it needed more substance behind it, which it didn't really have. Yako the Volcanic Muto says, I'm a fan of episodic shows. That's fine. So if you just wanted an episodic kind of like journey, you'll probably enjoy it more. You'll probably give it a 9 or 10 out of 10 in that case. But for me, I've seen Star Wars TV shows ever since I was a kid because of the Clone Wars. I know what to expect, or I know what... let's put it this way. I know what Star Wars is capable of in a TV show format. It can be standalone, and it can advance the lore and the story. And I feel like The Mandalorian is just not quite doing it like how the Clone Wars did, or even The Bad Batch. And I'm only 3 episodes into The Bad Batch so far. Adam Grunther says, hasn't Bad Batch Season 2 been episodic? I've only seen 4 episodes so far. I've seen 3 of them were telling the story properly. The 4th one seemed episodic. I hear 5 and 6 are episodic as well, but from what I hear, after that, it's non-stop. From what I hear, it's non-stop telling a lot of story in there. Yako also, the Volcanic Muto also asks, I asked earlier if Bad Batch was really that good because I keep hearing it's a bad show. It's not a bad show. I'll say this about the Bad Batch. Season 1 felt like with any show, it was trying to get its footing. When it did get its footing, it was really good. But there was quite a lot of filler in that first season. That's probably one thing that I would say is a big complaint. But from what I hear, Season 2, has less issues than that. It doesn't have those kind of issues. Like, there is some filler in there, but for the most part, it's telling the stories about what happens to the clones after Order 66. Do some of them regret what they did to the Jedi? Are there rogue clones? How do they feel now that they have to work with the Empire and not the Republic like they did in the Clone Wars in Episode 3 and all that? It's really fantastic storytelling. I cannot stress enough how great the storytelling is in those animated shows. Andor isn't a bad show, it just aired at a bad time. I've not seen Andor yet. Andor to me sounds like it's got a lot of the makings of what makes the Clone Wars great, except it hasn't got the balance down, and that is a big, big problem from what I hear. Because what I hear is that the first half is a lot of talking and a lot of build-up, and the second half is where all the action and the payoff happens. Whereas the Clone Wars would do both. It would have build-up, and it would have action, and like plot revelations all within the entire season. That's how good the Clone Wars was. So, yeah, I genuinely think that The Mandalorian Season 3 should take advice from Dave Filoni, you know, his ways in the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, and it should try to incorporate that kind of pacing to its storytelling. Because I just want more than great action in this show. I want some better storytelling too. So, yeah. Let's take a look at what you guys are saying. So yes, for those of you that are tuning in, I have got some questions coming in. The G Gamer says, is it Q&A now? It isn't. I occasionally here and there I'm just reading the odd question if it relates to what I'm talking about. But no, the Q&A is happening now. So we've gone through the Versus announcement, we've gone through the review, and now we're at the Q&A. So what did you guys think of The Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 2? And what do you think of Episode 1? Let me know about that as well. And like I said, I'm getting so much comments here, so any super chats, if you want your questions known, put it in super chats. It will be a lot easier for me to go through your super chats, because this list is scrolling like crazy on my computer here. So, Batman's Gamer says Avatar versus Avatar 2. Let the battle commence, please. I need to see the Avatar 2 again, because there comes a point where when I'm writing scripts, and this is a bit of behind the scenes for you, there's times when I'm writing scripts, I just hit a writer's block, and the way to overcome writer's block is by watching part of the movie again. And with some movies, I do go back to watch them again, but with Avatar, it is such a long movie, I wasn't able to, and I got very busy as December came around. I was lucky to have even watched it the first time, because it was such a long movie. But yeah, I kind of hit writer's block, and I didn't know how to make a proper informative video with a writer's block. It's like I could just ramble about it, but that wouldn't be doing right by you guys. I want to make sure that the videos don't drop in quality just because I want to get the video out, you know, just so I can get the views immediately. I want to make sure that the videos have substance to them, and they don't just seem like throwaway, like Eric is just rushing these out now. So that's why I haven't done that yet. It is on my list. I've written about, I think, 45% of it. Was it, or 50% of it? But I need more. I need to take more notes. So that's where I am with that right now. From what I hear, the end of this month is where they're going to release it on digital, so then I can watch it again, and then I can continue writing my script for it. So don't worry, I'm planning on doing that. Adam Grunther says, I hope they name drop Pre-Vizsla. I hope so too, because I remember how he died. That was funny and dark at the same time. But yeah, I hope they name drop him too, because she didn't mention him. She mentioned her father Bo-Katan did, but she didn't mention Pre Vizsla. She hasn't mentioned her sister, but then again, why would she, unless she's speaking to Obi-Wan? Big Bash says the ending of Ant-Man 3 was originally dark, but got cut. Yes, that's what I've heard as well, that it did get cut. Apparently, the original ending, Scott Lang was going to be stuck in the quantum realm, but then they changed that. And I hear they changed it to the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp getting stuck in the quantum realm. But then they changed that as well and says, just make a portal and just say they both get back. So yeah, Kang couldn't defeat both of them. Let's see. Adam Grunther says that The Mandalorian can pick up with episodes 3 and 4 like it did with seasons 1 and 2. It could. The trailers looked really good. It does seem like there's a Mandalorian level story being built up. So I just hope it feels big scale enough and that we get enough story progression with each episode. I don't just want like just a nugget and then we move on. That's what you do at the beginning of shows, not when you're in season 3. J. Michael, sorry. What was she cooking? She made some kind of soup for the Mandalorian to help him get better. What show do you think Pedro did better in, The Last of Us or The Mandalorian? That is a good question. Let's see who's asked that. CJP Productions. Very good question. I think that he did... It is hard because the performances are both incredibly different. One is more down to the voice and the body language, and the other one is more down to everything. I would say his performance is better in The Last of Us. That he's got a lot more range that he shows there. But considering he's got a helmet on for most of the show, it's amazing what he's able to do with the Mandalorian. He's just got such a presence as the Mandalorian. So, yeah. I do think he was great in both of them, though. But The Last of Us is where he would get the edge. Do you like Maze Runner? If so, have you thought of doing a versus video on them? I've only seen the first Maze Runner. I was going to see the second one, but I never got around to seeing it. The reason I kind of stopped is because I heard the Maze Runner stopped becoming about maze running. The second and third movie just ended up being, you know, them trying like they like the Hunger Games, like the young adult novels that would happen. They would try to stop the evil corporation or something. I haven't seen the first one in years, so I will consider watching the first one again. But making a versus video, I think I would do that when I would start to run out of ideas more, but I have not run out of ideas at the moment, so I've still got plenty. If you loved episode 3, Trent Wood says, if you loved episode 3 in Bad Batch, you will love episode 12 more than 3. Really? Because episode 3 was so good. It's up there with some of the best of the Clone Wars episodes. That's how great it was. Odil says, bro, I wish I could watch Clone Wars, but I can't get into Star Wars. That's fair enough. It's not everything is not meant for everyone, so if you can't get into it, that's fine. Although, if you did want to get into it, the Clone Wars is definitely a place to go. But it would take a bit of patience at the beginning, because if you're not used to the characters, you're going to need to sit through a good bunch first. Let's see. How many actually died in Order 66? Order 66 is such a big thing that happens in the Star Wars universe that I don't think you can quantify that. So many people die, Jedis and everything. What's your favorite character from TMNT 2003? Ooh, my favorite character was always Leonardo. I am the eldest of five children, and I would always have to be put in charge at times of my siblings, and much like Leonardo, that's exactly how Leonardo felt. It felt like he had to be put in charge of his younger siblings, and they would sometimes go off the rails. And very much like Leonardo, I would always be the one that would say, you know, let's try to not cause any problems here. Let's just keep it cool. Whereas everyone else is like a bit more, as children are, can sometimes be a bit more frantic. But I felt like I really related to Leonardo the most. Even now as an adult, I feel like I relate to him more. So he has always been my favorite Ninja Turtle. I know people say he's square and boring, but what can I say? I relate to that. You should do an Attack on Titan review. I'm watching Demon Slayer. I haven't seen Demon Slayer Season 2 yet. In terms of anime, that's what I'm watching right now. So, Attack on Titan, not at the moment. Maybe when more episodes come out. I think the biggest reason I did not get into it was because people said that Season 2 is taking so long to come out. I don't know if it has come out yet or not, but that was the reason why I was like, okay, I'd rather wait and watch them all when they come out, so yeah. The username says, have you played Hogwarts Legacy? Yes, I have. I've played it on Let me get this out here on my Steam Deck. And I've had a phenomenal time playing it on my Steam Deck. I said I was actually going to do Patreon content on my $2 perk at some point of Hogwarts Legacy and other gaming stuff. So stay tuned for some of that Patreon stuff, because I've got, it's almost gonna be like a second YouTube channel, my Patreon, at some point. I'm trying to get everything into place. I'm gonna even create a new show, which will be a spin-off of my Let's Binge Watch show on Patreon. So there's a lot of great stuff I got planned for Patreon. And while I'm here, I'll just say a huge thanks to you patrons. It's because of you patrons I'm even going to go see Scream 6. So then I'm going to do a review on that. So, and remember, I said, well, we're getting close to 50 patrons. Last I checked, we got 45. So 5 more patrons, and we got 50. That's a milestone right there. Did I watch Puss in Boots 2? Yes, I have. Hi Eric, just came by so you know I really like your versus videos. Do you consider a Man of Steel versus Shazam versus Black Adam? Not at the moment. And if anything, right now I'm considering Shazam 1 versus Shazam 2. But I'm thinking there's a lot of stuff coming out this month. Is that one... Yes, I've got to pick my battles. Is that one you guys want me to do? Or would you just want me to do just a standard review? So I need to think more on that. Thoughts on The Punisher joining the MCU and Daredevil Born Again? I don't like it. I don't like the fact that Karen and Foggy, first of all, are not going to be in there. That is an awful decision. And I have a suspicion that the reason that is the case is because Marvel don't know what to do with side characters unless they're comic relief or unless you throw a superhero costume onto them. They don't know what to do with them otherwise. And when you compare it to what the Daredevil shows did with Karen and Foggy, it was ingenious. Especially in Season 3 when Karen went to go see Kingpin at his, it should be his prison, but it was essentially his house. And when she says that she took out Wesley and how she was trying to get a reaction from him to hit her, that was such an intense scene. And because the show is rated R, you fear what Kingpin is going to do to her when he finds out. But with PG-13, that fear will be gone. It's like, whatever he does, Disney Marvel would not want to make it that bad, and they wouldn't want you to see it either. So... And Disney Marvel are not smart enough to write some character and story progressions like that. So, yeah, you're not going to get that level of intelligence from the MCU. And that's just Daredevil I'm talking about. So, if they can't do Daredevil, there's no way they're going to do the Punisher. The Punisher, his whole point is that he is an uncensored character. That he is an extreme character. And all the other heroes in the Marvel comics and everything, they all react off of that he is so extreme. He's more extreme than the more hardcore of us heroes like Daredevil. But if you take that R rating away, you've taken that extreme element away. So you can try to tiptoe around it, but it's not going to work. So I have no faith on that. Here's the thing as well. Hermes says MCU PG-13. MCU, they don't even know how to push a PG-13 rating. They've tried, and I feel like they've not done it in a way that really contributes to the storytelling. Like, say, how Matt Reeves' The Batman did. Adam Grunther says, who is your favourite live-action Marvel villain? For me, it's Bullseye from Daredevil Season 3. He's the one villain who genuinely terrified me. Yeah, for sure. He's he's up there. He's definitely one of the great ones. But I feel like he didn't get to fully, be a villain on his own. That's what Daredevil Season 4 was supposed to do. So he would have gotten even better. So I can't say he's my favorite villain, although he's definitely on top of the, on the higher up of the list. My favorite Marvel villain, there's a lot of them. They're not really from the MCU. There's just a couple from there. My favorite Marvel villain is definitely Kingpin from the MCU. He's my favorite villain. Season 1 and Season 3, even just the bit he was in Season 2, where he tried to manipulate the Punisher so he could have the new hierarchy in that prison. Even that was amazing. His performance is phenomenal, Vincent D'Onofrio. And it's a shame that, again, he's going to be in the base level PG-13. Because DC and even Fox's Marvel and even some of the Sony Marvel movies, they push the PG-13 rating. But the MCU have never pushed the rating. Do you remember in Moon Knight when Ethan Hawke's character in the opening scene of the first episode, he smashed some glass, put it in his sandals, and then he put his feet in them, and basically you hear the cracking of the glass as he's walking. What was the point of that other than to say, look how edgy we're being, we're putting something dark in the movie? It's like, yeah, but you could have taken that out. It would have made no difference to the character. he just crippled himself for no real reason. So it made him less intimidating to me, because I was like, there's no way he can run after you. Run away and he'll just have to like cripple himself over to you. He will never run. It just seemed like it was a false way of trying to say, look how dark we're getting. When Dune Part 2 comes out, will you do a versus video, says Zilla Universe. Yes, I will. People are asking me how come I did not do a Dune versus video with the first movie, and that's because the first movie, a lot of people have said this, it's a very small part of the story from the book that they've just adapted. It was hardly much of a story. So I was waiting for Dune, the second one, to come out, and then I can start doing some versus videos if the story has good progression, which I'm assuming it should. Batman's Gamer says MCU is just super PG. They care more about kids. That is unfortunately the exact truth. Because if you look at what, say, DC did or even Fox did, it looked like toys were on the table, but it was not the be-all, end-all. So they allowed their movies to get darker, especially if you look at what especially if you look at what Fox did with Logan and Deadpool. You know, taking a PG-13 character, making him rated R. That's something that doesn't normally happen. So the fact they did that was very impressive and very commendable. And even the Batman, that is certainly not a movie where you would sell toys off of it, off of a Zodiac-like villain. You're not going to make toys out of that, but they still try to make a great movie. Marvel keep thinking about the toys. That's why The Punisher is PG-13. That's why Daredevil, they're not bringing back the original writers, which would have been such a easy thing to do. Just bring back the original creators, give them free reign, there you go. You'll get a great show. But no, they have to hire a couple of comedy writers to do the Daredevil show, the Born Again show that they're doing, and that's what they're going with. PG-13 Daredevil, which by MCU PG-13 standards is not even going to be a hard PG-13. It's not going to be a smart PG-13 either. Yako the Volcanic Muto says, Eric makes logical statement of MCU Daredevil. Cuban Crusher, shut the F up and take a show. Okay, you got me there. I understood what you're saying at first, and then you kind of lost me. Is Cuban Crusher a channel on YouTube? Probably, I don't know. It looks like that. Have I finished Cobra Kai Season 5 yet? No, I actually haven't. That was also one of the stuff that was happening as I was switching and getting a new computer. Because on my previous computer, I had the aspect ratio and the Instagram sort of design that I did for Cobra Kai. I've got that on my other computer. I have to try to find a way to bring that over and then continue it. But that was one of the things that got me really busy as well, so that's why I wasn't able to do it. But I will try to continue. It doesn't mean it's over, but I do try to keep you guys up to date with the episodes as I watch it. So this kind of gives you an idea how slow I can be at watching TV shows at times, because I just get so busy. But I do intend to finish it, and I'm grateful that there's going to be one more season next season, because I feel like Cobra Kai has lost its steam, certainly from what it was in the first 2-3 seasons. I hope Lindsay Curtis, great to see you here on the live stream, who's constantly comments on my videos too. I hope you're having a great day, Eric. Are you looking forward to the live-action Little Mermaid remake? Well, I hope you're having a great day too, Lindsay. And no, I'm not looking forward to the Little Mermaid remake. Like many of the Disney remakes, it's a lifeless, soulless remake, is what it's going to be. People was having a problem with the race bending. I have a problem with it too, but thing is, I don't really care about the race bending, because I just think the movie itself is ill-conceived, that anything else after that is just kind of irrelevant. The movie exists, and it shouldn't. That's what I think. That's my stance on it. I will do a versus video when it comes out, because that's kind of what I do here, and I feel like people are starting to get wise to Disney's stuff, and Disney are losing a lot of revenue on all their departments. On Disney, Pixar, they're losing money from Disney, which was of Strange Worlds, losing money on Pixar, which was Lightyear, and they're losing money on Star Wars because The Last Jedi still has not, the wounds from Last Jedi have still not healed, and they're losing money as well from Marvel. They just recently started losing money from Marvel. So yeah, Marvel, Disney are getting hit from every angle. All their divisions are in trouble. Meanwhile, you have Puss in Boots from DreamWorks, which absolutely steals the spotlight. So yeah, it's not looking good for Disney. They need to make big changes. Adam Grunther says, for what it's worth, unlike Daredevil, Kingpin wasn't too neutered in Hawkeye. I agree. I did not like his clothing choice, like a Hawaiian suit. Kingpin was so... there was the writers just did such an amazing job of giving him of crafting his character to such extreme details, even down to the clothes that he would wear. But Marvel don't have those details, so they just give him something to wear just because it's colorful, when really it actually compromises on his character development. He would always wear very specific clothes and like cufflinks and buttons on his clothes, and he would always wear certain color schemes, but they went with a tropical look, which was silly. Uh, but yeah, I think Daredevil was neutered a lot more in She-Hulk than Kingpin was. Hey, will you see the new Dungeons and Dragons movie? I've not even seen the trailer yet. It shows how little interest I have. And also, like I said, a lot of stuff is coming out this month, so that's another reason why I've not seen it, because my attention is on other things. They sold toys of the Batman's Riddler. Yes, they did. I'm aware that they sold toys, but it's not like they've done an aggressive push with the marketing on that, because I don't know if parents would even like that. But yeah, of course there's going to be toys of it, but it's not as aggressive as, say, how Marvel tried to push for the toys. So, yeah. Hey, Eric, do you think Star Wars will get fixed? Yes, I do. All we gotta do is wait for Kathleen Kennedy to get fired. And from what I've heard, Cameron Pasha, who's a Hollywood writer, he's apparently just recently he's been getting a lot of like scoops that have turned out to be true. Apparently, like, so they've been verified, and one of his sources have actually said, from what I've heard, that the new Star Wars celebration is going to essentially be the firing of Kathleen Kennedy's celebration. They're not going to be able to publicly, like, you know, humiliate her, but they're going to say, look at all these things that she's done. She's accomplished so many great things with Star Wars, and now she's going to retire. They're going to try to make her, like, retire on a high rather than humiliate her, because I think she can probably, like, pull out some, like, Disney blackmail or something if she really wanted to, because, you know, a lot of these studio people that have been in the business for so long, they must know a lot of things that has been going on within the business, so they're going to give her a polite way out, and a lot of people will most likely get angry about it, which I can totally understand, but just know that she's not happy. They'll give her all these awards and stuff, but she is not happy about it. If anything, she's trying to stay, from what I've heard, but they said no, like, that's it, your time is done, so, yeah. I missed a super chat, Eric. Alec Barton says, let me see. Oh, yes, Adam Grunther. I'm sorry, I can't believe I missed that. Like I said, I'm using this new software, and it pops the super chats right on the top, but it didn't do it with this one, which is bizarre. What are your thoughts on the Pirates of the Caribbean movies? They're probably the only franchise where Disney committed to a hard PG-13. Yes, they did. The Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, I love the first one, I love the second one, third one was okay, fourth one was bad, fifth one was okay at best, average at best is how I describe it. But I was curious to see the sixth one, and unfortunately they've cancelled that because of, you know, that thing. I don't want the YouTube censors to potentially pick up on this, because they've not been kind to people that talk about that, because, yeah, but basically, I do think that they were fun watches at worst. Like, I still had fun watching them, even when they were at their worst. But yeah, they definitely committed to the dark and violent deaths in that, for sure. They really did. Killer Doll fan says, I thought the apartment fight in No Way Home was brutal in a PG-13 way. It was, but then that was about it. There was nothing else in there that I would say was brutal. And that was a good, like, probably the only good action scene there. Not great, but good. Adam Grunther says, the race bending is the least of its problems. I agree. Yes, that's my thoughts on the matter too. It's like, because if you think about it, if they cast a white actress in there and gave her the red hair, which is what I think they should have done, but let's just say that they did, would we still be happy about the movie? No, we still wouldn't. We'd still be able to see right through the cash grab that it is. And we'd be able to see right through the uninspired cash grab that it is. So, yeah. Let's see. Disney is going haywire, says LBT Electric Dino. Yes, they are. Baby Fett says, I'm so sick of remakes. Me too. I'm really sick of them as well. Raul Paaris says, future video on Puss in Boots? Yes. I don't know if you heard me say that, but yes, there is a future video for Puss in Boots 2 planned. In fact, I was writing the script. I'm a good chunk of the way through, but I've not finished it yet. Amina Muhammad, Batman Gamer Facts. Yep, future video on Puss in Boots. I've already read that. Hey, David Gordillo says, "Hey Eric, will you see the new Dungeons and Dragons movie?" Um, I'm trying to think because I know there is a very bad Dungeons and Dragons movie. I was considering doing a versus video, but I don't know how big Dungeons and Dragons is because when it comes to certain things like that, sometimes I do have to think about the viewership and is it worth going there or should I just go to something else and focus on that for a video? But we'll see. Right now I've got other videos to work on. I'll tell you guys right now, I'm working on 2 videos. One is a versus video. That's all I'll say. It's one that has been highly requested of me. And the second one is that Puss in Boots video. But it's not just a review of Puss in Boots 2. There is a bigger topic to talk about in that. So those are the 2 videos I'm working on right now. And of course, you'll always get Patreon stuff like trailer reactions. And to those that donate just $1 on Patreon, as well as getting all my previous trailer reactions and my new ones that come, you will also get credited, be in the credits of my videos as well. But I'm just see this question here again saying, will Star Wars get fixed? Yes, it will when Kathleen Kennedy goes. Then Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau can have all the control, and I'm sure they'll find a way to fix it. From what I hear, they're going to try to erase the sequel trilogy. If you look at the Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1 and Season 3 Episode 2, do you know that Star Wars logo in the opening? We see all those helmets. Apparently, Jon Favreau removed Kylo Ren's helmet, which is already an early sign that Kathleen Kennedy can't do anything about it, and they're going to start removing her thumbprint on this Star Wars universe. So that's cool. Batman's Gamer says, "Wait, how many videos do you plan on just for this and next month? Because holy crap, I hope you don't stress." That is actually the thing that has also been happening. I used to stress with my old computer because it was slow. It would not help out with my workload. But it actually does get stressful because you always try to maintain a level of quality and you don't want to get to the point where you think, okay, I'll just put it out because it's less pressure on me. I'll just get the video out and I'll get my video out. I'll get the views quick and I'll get some revenue out of it. I don't ever want to be on that level. So if it seems like some videos take longer to make, it's because I don't want to rush them out. I still always try to make high quality content. And you guys might have realized that I've been trying to do new animations in my videos, and it takes a lot of extra time, but it does make them look better in the end. I'm always happy with the video when they're done. I never release a video and think, I'm not happy with this, let's just put it out. I'm always happy with a video when I finish it, so I always make sure that I'm at that level. Have I played Detroit Becoming Human? I've got it. I've actually got it on my shelf right over there, but unfortunately, no, I've never played through it. I got very busy. When should we expect the Versus video? Well, I'm going to start voice recording it soon, so I don't know, give it a week or 2 maybe. But at the same time, Scream 6 is coming out. When I see that, I'm going to review that, and I'm also working on the Puss in Boots video, so it'll take a bit, but it will come out. Are you going to watch the upcoming The Marvels, or are you going to avoid it like Miss Marvel? That I will watch. Miss Marvel, I boycotted it for a reason, and if you watch my Falcon the Winter Soldier binge watch video, I explained the reason why. But with this, I probably will watch it only because I cover it. Let me make that one thing clear, actually. It's very important I actually say this. But a lot of these movies that are coming out, the only reason I'm watching them is because I have to cover them in one form or another. Let's just say I did not have a YouTube channel and this was not my full-time job, I would not watch a lot of these movies. Even Scream 6, which I'm going to watch, I'm only going to watch it for you guys so I can review it. If it was up to me, I would just wait for it to come out and then watch it on my projector. That is literally what I would do. Because I did not like that they've not put Neve Campbell in the movie. Sydney is an iconic character to me. And I don't like that they just took her out. And I don't like how they got rid of Dewey in the last movie. That was insulting. Hey Eric, who do you want as the villain for the Batman 2? I haven't got too many ideas for that, but I did hear that Matt Reeves wanted Mr. Freeze. So if that's what he wants, I'm very curious to see how he could do Mr. Freeze in this more realistic level. Will you do an out-of-theatre reaction? I've done those occasionally, like a long time ago on my, I think, Instagram. I did it occasionally, like an out-of-theatre reaction. I could. But I usually like to think of what I thought of the movie a bit first and then let you guys know. But we'll see. If I feel like I come out and I'm like, I've got an out-of-theatre reaction, then I'll consider doing one. Batman's Gamer says, First of all, hang on. First, Oliver Ekman, can you please do a versus video on Shazam 2? I'm considering it, but I need to see it first. So we'll see, but I'm definitely considering that. Batman's Gamer, what do you think of the Penguin HBO Max spin-off series? Sounds like another Falcone. Sounds like another Falcone will take over the Falcone business after Falcone's death. That's a lot of Falcones. Yeah, I do like the idea of it. It's a very grounded show. It's got, I think, 8 episodes, and I trust Matt Reeves and his judgment, so... And I hear the show will probably be rated R, because Matt Reeves said that the parameters of the show will be very different to the parameters of the movie, so I'm guessing he is going to make it rated R. And if the rumors are true, and they're going to put, as they should, they're going to put Rob Pattinson's Batman in there, that'll be cool, because Batman would play a part in that show, especially seeing as what he did in the Batman movie. It would make sense for him to come and see the Penguin or get involved at points, because he's still on patrol in Gotham. And I like how those DC shows are doing that, like Peacemaker did that with the Justice League, and Matt Reeves will be doing that with Batman. I like that they do that, because the MCU shows, something that is so frustrating, is that all this stuff is going on in all these shows, and everyone's asking this. Where are the rest of the Avengers? Doctor Strange is the biggest one. He should have been in WandaVision, seeing as he's supposed to guard magic and all that, and when Wanda came in, causing those crimes that she did, he should have come in, snapped his fingers and said, stop. Like, enough. And then maybe the two could have gotten into a fight, which could have led into Multiverse of Madness. And this is me just spitballing. But no, they did something which was less effective. And Kevin Feige didn't put him in because he said, A, it was Wanda's show, which I guess I can understand. The second thing he said is because, plus, it's going to be like, I'm white, let me tell you what to do. Or, I'm white, let me tell you how magic works. That was a quote from him. You can look that up. It was nonsense. I just don't like how they're managing, how they just take the Avengers out and just don't put them in these shows. It's like, the Avengers are out there, you should put them in, but they just don't. I don't like it. Are you going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy? Yes, I am. Definitely going to do that. Orange Tang says, you're my favorite YouTuber. Oh, thanks very much. That always brings a smile to my face. A lot of you have been saying that to me lately, which I really do appreciate. Someone says stop spamming. Who's spamming? Whose question did I not ask? Oh wow, that is spamming, isn't it? Try not to do that. I will try to go through. Adam Grunther says Scream 6 is being called the best one since the first film. I've heard a lot of movies say that this is the best since the first, or best since this other one. Like Terminator Dark Fate said the best since Terminator 2. I don't think it was, personally. And there's other movies that have done that too. We'll see. But I doubt it, because the characters were weak in the fifth one. And from what I hear, the characters are weak in this one too. And that is a big thing that makes you care less for these Scream movies, is when the characters are just so flat, because they seem like extras. Vielka, Estella, I'm sorry, I can't say that whole name, but the one who's been spamming, apparently. Who do you think will be the villains of the Batman 2? Who will play the villains? I think I've already answered this to a degree. I think it will be Mr. Freeze. And if the rumors are true, might be Hush in there as a secondary villain, maybe. What's your favorite video game soundtrack? Mine's Assassin's Creed Revelations. Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite video game soundtrack? There's a lot of them. I can't really just pick one, but... I think the Batman Arkham games have, like, my favorite soundtrack. I think Arkham City and Arkham Origins have fantastic soundtracks. So does Arkham Knight. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Arkham City. I love the main theme. That was amazing. When will you do the Avengers Infinity War versus Zack Snyder's Justice League? I do intend to do that still. It's just that, like I said, so many videos, and you also got to kind of, like, do things that are, like, trending at the time, where people have, like, shown the most interest. Because I've done certain videos that people have asked for, but I've done them at the wrong time, and they get less engagement. And, you know, I want to put the same effort in and get more engagement, rather than the same effort and getting less engagement. So, I definitely do plan on doing it, but not yet. Hey Eric, how do you think the Batman sequel would handle Scarecrow if he was the main villain of the film? It would be very interesting, because Matt Reeves has got, like, a history in horror, so to see him do more, like, lean into the horror stuff more, that would actually be really fascinating. Like, very interesting, because he did the horror great in, the Batman, with the horror stuff. And Adam Grunther, I noticed another... I just been scrolling through and seeing if I missed any of your other super chats. You said which 2022 animated movie did you like more, Del Toro's Pinocchio or Puss in Boots: The Last Wish? That is a fantastic question, and I'll tell you what. What makes it an extra level of great is that me and my brother actually had that exact same conversation right after we finished watching Puss in Boots. We said, which one's better? We don't really know. They're both very good in their own way. I'm going to say, for now, I'll say Puss in Boots 2. But I do want to watch both of those movies again, and then I'll see if my opinions on that changed at all. So, thank you very much, Adam Grunter, for your super chats. That's three super chats, unless I'm mistaken, that you've done. So, thank you very much. Let's see. Let's go through more. Is that another one you've given? Well, yes, I did love both of those movies. Del Toro's Pinocchio ended up on my top 5 list. In fact, I was thinking if Puss in Boots 2 in the UK came out the same year, in 2022, as Del Toro's Pinocchio, I actually said I would have had a hard time. I would have struggled which one to put on that list. Are you excited for John Wick 4? I'm actually the least excited for John Wick 4, you know? The trailers really have not done it for me, so I've been very disappointed with those. But I'm sure it'll still be good. But, man, does it have to be 2 hours and 40 minutes long? That's just unnecessary. What... Odil says, what did you think of Batman the Enemy Within? I noticed the soundtrack was in your The Dark Knight vs. Joker video. I love Batman the Enemy Within. A completely different take on the Joker, and even Harley. It starts out their dynamic very differently. Even the Joker's relationship with Bruce Wayne and Batman is different too. It was so good. That was excellent. I did not like Lucius Fox's daughter as much. She felt a bit too... It's like the... You gotta be careful when you make Batman hang out with kids. You can make him hang out with kids and it's cool, or you can make him hang out with kids and it's like, what is this young adult stuff? So I think it was very good. I would give it a 9 out of 10. It was really good. Especially when Bruce Wayne goes undercover with all the villains. That was excellent stuff. Adam Grunter, I asked the question again because I thought you missed it. Apologies. No, you shouldn't be apologizing. I should be apologizing. When you put a super chat in, I should not miss those. But like I said, this new software, I've never used it before. And it did put the super chats up on the top. But then it didn't put another super chat in when you did the others. I don't know if it got confused because they were all $4.99 donations or something. I don't know. Maybe it would change it if you did 5. I don't know. Or if you did $4.98. I don't know. I don't know. This is the first time I'm using this... This is the first time I'm using this software, like I said, so... Adam Grunter says, you could always put Puss in Boots in your top 5 best for 2023, like you did with Jojo Rabbit in 2020. That is very true. I'll tell you this, right now, I think Puss in Boots is like the only movie in my top 5 list that I've written for this year so far. So, we'll see what happens and what other movies come. I'm going to make a bet. I want to make a bet that the Flash movie will end up on my top 5 best list. Because if the reviews really are... I don't even think the movie could be that good, but if the reviews really are that good, and now that James Gunn's going to change the universe going forward, and Michael Keaton's not going to be the Batman going forward, or he's not going to take the place of, like, Nick Fury going forward for DC, that's going to make these... his cameo... Not his cameo, his role and appearance in the Flash movie more special, because it's going to be a one-off. So I'm looking forward to that. Are you looking forward to Avatar The Last Airbender live-action series? Not at all. They took the... apparently Netflix were not good to the creators of the show on Netflix, that they actually dropped out. They said Netflix were not, like, you know, encouraging them with their vision. They were, like, getting in the way of it, so... You know, so that just says a lot. It'll be interesting to see if they can replicate the action in live action. That would be cool. Otherwise, no. There was no reason to make this show in live action. It was perfect in animation. You don't need it in live action. If anything, I'm glad they got fired, because now they've been hired by Paramount, and they're making multiple Avatar projects. So them getting well, not fired, but them getting, like, leaving that is actually probably the best thing that could have happened for us Avatar fans. Especially because they're going to do the original Avatar characters when they're older. I'm looking so forward to that. If you see the Mario movie this year, do you plan to do a versus battle with it and the 1993 Trash Heap? Wow, that's a good question. I've been thinking of that. Yes, I will. I'm considering doing that. But one thing I was actually thinking of doing even more was the Super Mario Brothers movie versus the Sonic movie. You know, or the Super Mario Brothers movie versus... No, I don't need to do Detective Pikachu. That's something I just thought now. But that's what I was thinking. Sonic versus Super Mario. Which one did it better? The G Gamer says, "Do you don't know you across the Spider-Verse might overthrow Puss in Boots on my list? It might. I don't know if it'll overthrow it. I think it might take a place, but I don't know if it will overthrow it." Another movie I'm looking really forward to, by the way, is Shazam 2. I know the movie is not predicted to be opening well, but I really, 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 really love the first movie. All the problems I had with the PG-13 MCU comedy movies were rectified in Shazam, and I did not even expect that going in. And they even went above and beyond by putting horror in there on top of that too. So that made it all the more creative to me. They really topped themselves there. They did a phenomenal job. Cameron Shahid says, "What's your favourite movie in each film genre?" I can't tell you that. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't just come up with like the proper answers. Actually, I will say this. I'll give you a couple. My favourite horror movie of all time is Scream, the first one. My favourite like action crime drama movie of all time, I'll say crime drama, is The Dark Knight. My favourite animated movie of all time, what was it? Yeah, Ed, and Eddie the movie. I know that's cheating a little bit because it wasn't a theatrically released movie, but it has movie in the title. It's a movie. That is my favorite comedy movie. It used to be Hot Fuzz, but I watched Ed and Eddie the movie again recently. It was a show based on something I used to watch when I was a kid. That movie is phenomenal. It has me laughing so much I actually tear up. Like, that's how much I'm laughing at it. And it has drama too. What are your opinions on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad? I haven't got any opinions on Better Call Saul. I was going to watch it, but I never got around to it. And Breaking Bad I did watch. I really enjoyed Breaking Bad. Adam Grunther, I've got your super chat and I see it right now. I'm going to answer it straight away. What's your favourite scene in Del Toro's Pinocchio? Personally, I love the scenes with Ron Perlman's character. He always brought such an uneasy vibe. He did, and Ron Perlman is fantastic. Like, if you remember in the Teen Titans show, not Teen Titans Go, but Teen Titans, the great one, that voice, I didn't even know that voice was in him, but the way he speaks so calm and calculated and quietly, and like there's no worry and there's no weight on his shoulders whatsoever. The fact he was able to do that so well, and I didn't even know it was him. He was one of my favorite animated DC villains of all time, and he brought an unease there too. But my favorite scene, there were a lot of good scenes, but they're not all. They seem very different. I'd say that one of the best scenes was the final scene where I don't want to say it for those that have not seen it. Actually, I was almost going to say it, where someone goes to someone's grave. I'll just put it that way. That's probably not putting it very subtly, but that was, to me, that was a really sad scene to me. The second one, that grave scene, that was fantastic to me. I thought that was phenomenal. It was really sad. It was like really quite sad, a sad thought. It's not like something that you'd cry at, but it's something that you'd come away thinking, wow, that was really sad. Yako the Volcanic Muto. Hey Eric, I have to get going. Bye, Sir Eric Carter. Yeah, well, goodbye to you. Thanks very much for coming on the stream. Eric, what's your score on the Suicide Squad? Yeah, I did not end up making that Suicide Squad versus video, did I? Even though I still intend to do that as well. I'll tell you guys right now, my score for the movie was a very high 7. Now, I need to see the movie again, and it might change. It might go higher, might go lower, but I thought it was a very high 7. Peacemaker, I thought was like a high 8. So, high 8, low 9. Okay, we're going to reach the end of the live stream now, because my voice is going, and I don't know how much of you are there right now. There's 72. What's your opinion on Brooklyn Nine-Nine? I think I've seen a couple episodes. It reminds me of those really old early 2000 shows. Personally, it's okay. It's not great though. It's a fun pastime, but that's about it. I can't watch too much of it. What's your opinion on DreamWorks villains? I haven't seen enough movies, DreamWorks movies, to like have a full-on opinion on their villains. But from Kung Fu Pandas to the How to Train Your Dragons to Puss in Boots and Shrek movies, Shrek 1, 2, and especially Rumpelstiltskin as well in the 4th movie, fantastic villains. But I haven't seen like Minions, so I don't know what the villains are like there, if they're good or not. But I think they're very good. They're definitely a lot better than the Disney villains now. Like, remember the villain in Lightyear? That was ridiculous. It really was pathetic. Red Rexa says hello. Hi. Is there any piece of fiction that you like more than The Dark Knight? Ed, Ed, and Eddie, the movie? So maybe something like that. Very good question, but I don't know. Maybe the Batman? You know, but there's too much to really choose from. I'd say probably favorite piece of fiction. Actually, no, I've got an answer actually. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's my second favorite movie of all time, believe it or not. So that is probably my, besides The Dark Knight, is my favorite. Fireboy says, do you think that MCU will be fixed and return to quality over quantity? I think they will, but it'll take time. And at the same time, I think they won't, because I think without the Russo brothers there to guide the overall story, because a lot of the MCU movies, even going back to when they were good, they were just chapters of a story. The Russo brothers, they came in and they made it. They were the only ones that really gave us like a full-on story that really moved the story for the universe forward. But without them, and I have my theories that Kevin Feige hates them, and that's why he's not hired them again. I think what's going on there, I think without them, the MCU is going to fall. I really think it is. And it's all the more worse that we're going to get the original X-Men Fox characters coming back in Secret Wars, because without the Russo brothers, I don't know that they'll be able to bring dignity to them. They'll probably just make them jokesters again. Adam Grunther, which villain... It's another super chat from you. Which villains did you like more? Thinker and Starro in the Suicide Squad, or Peacemaker's father and the Butterflies in Peacemaker? Without a doubt, Peacemaker's father and the Butterflies in Peacemaker. I thought there was so much more development to them. Starro had development when he died, and he says, I just wanted to stay in space, something like that, and you people brought me down. So there was something good there, but it was right when he died. The Butterflies, they actually had a chance to really be developed, so I liked that. The G-Gamer, how would you... Oh, thanks again, Adam Grunther, for all these super chats. Like, really, I really appreciate it. You're a Patreon supporter and these much super chats. I really do appreciate it. I really, really do appreciate it. Some of this money that you've used to donate to me, by the way, this can all go again to watching movies in the theater that I can then review when I get back. So, like I said, all you guys' donations, they really do help keep the show going and help me going as well, as I try to do this financially and full time. The G-Gamer says, how would you rank the Shrek movies? I would rank it 1, 2, 4, 3. And if you want me to put Puss in Boots in there, oh, maybe it would be Shrek 1, 2, 4, then Puss in Boots 2. I need to see Puss in Boots 2 again, because rewatch value plays a big part in what makes me like a movie, and I need to see if it holds up again on second viewing. It should, but I do need to see it again to know for sure. But for now, that's my ranking. What's your opinions on Gotham Knights CW trailer? That show is going to fall before it starts. I'll tell you this, I've seen the trailer and I have completely forgotten it, and that doesn't normally happen to me, so yeah, you're definitely right. When you say that show is going to fail before it starts, you couldn't be more right, because that's certainly the case for me, and that's just the trailer, let alone the actual show. I think they're going to cancel that right after that first season, or we might hear that it'll get cancelled before the whole season gets premiered. Hey Eric, maybe you could do a binge watch of The Flash. I can't do a binge watch of The Flash, there's too many episodes, and I don't have time to rewatch them again, but I am going to watch... I was thinking of watching the final episode and maybe doing a video of it on Patreon when my new show comes on there. So that's all I'll say right now, but that's what I'm considering. Lindsay Curtis says, I'm sorry, Eric, but fortunately I have to get going. It was such a great time chatting with you on this live stream, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay awesome and your videos rock. Oh, thank you very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day as well. It's always great seeing you guys, all of you, commenting on my videos and commenting on these live chats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to you right now, we're going to have 5 more minutes, so 9:30 by my time is what it says. We're going to stop the stream, because we've been going for... Where's the run time? 1 hour and 26 minutes. It does not feel like that. Time flies by when I'm talking to you guys. What did you think of the Halo series? I only watched episode 1. I can't even remember if I saw episode 2. I think I got a trial or something. Was it I think I got a trial and I watched it and I was like, yeah, I canceled my trial. I think I didn't watch any after that. So Yeah. R says, thanks for answering my question. Yeah, no problem. J. Michael says, do you look forward to Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but I'm curious to see it. Because James Gunn, when he's at DC, I like when he's unleashed versus Marvel, where he's really reined in. So that's why. But we'll see. Will you see Transformers Rise of the Beast and do a versus video with either the first film from 2007 or Bumblebee? It's hard to say. You normally have to see it. Sometimes with movies, I can't just instantly say I'm going to do this versus video. I need to see it first and then think, okay, what's the most appropriate versus video? So I don't know at the moment. I'll just say I don't care about this movie. I wish they would have... I'm waiting for them to do that Cybertron movie. I really want to see that. But they've not even done that. They're just going back to doing people and live action. But I feel like I've seen that too many times now. Opinions on Age of Ultron, because I've seen your videos where you have talked about all the Avengers movie and versus videos, except for that one. Yes, I do plan on doing a video with my new show on Patreon when I do the new perks out, where I go through the whole entire movie and I comment on it. But for now, I'll say the marketing lied to us. That is one of the ones that scarred me to the point where I was like, I do not trust Marvel and their marketing, because they can easily lie and say you're going to get this horror movie of a comic book film, and then when you watch it, it's just one of their biggest comedies they've released. They even did that with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. A lot of people were like, the trailers said it was going to be darker, and then it wasn't. So I was not surprised, because I always say I'm skeptical with Marvel trailers. I don't trust them. So the Age of Ultron I did not like based on how it lied, and it could have been so much more, and they made such a great looking villain like Ultron end up being worthless. It's rumoured that Marvel are trying to bring him back, but I think too little too late personally. And even if they did bring him back, I don't know if they would push him far enough. The MCU has become pretty boring, says Baby Fett. I agree, it has become pretty boring. What is your opinion on the How to Train Your Dragon show, says Neither King. I only saw a couple episodes. I think the animation is not as good, which is to be expected. The voice acting felt a bit off, which was a bit weird, because it wasn't at the same level of quality or voice direction as the animated movies. That's for sure. But I haven't seen enough episodes to really comment on it, but I thought they were good. I can see why people would enjoy that. Okay, we got 2 minutes left. Let's see. More questions? Fox Quicksilver or MCU Quicksilver? Fox Quicksilver. Which is your favourite villain of all time? The Joker from The Dark Knight. What are your opinions on How to Train Your Dragon? I think you've already asked that. I've already answered it. What's going on in here? A live stream is going on here. What is the best Knives Out movie? The second one. I even said that, I think, in my top 5 best movies of the year. What would you rank the Thor movies from best to worst? Oh, Thor 1, Thor 3, Thor 2, Thor 4. Opinions on Titanic. Funnily enough that you asked that, during its re-release a couple weeks ago, me and my brother went to go see it. I went to go see it for the first time after like 10, 13 years. Like, it was so long. And my brother went to go see it for the first time ever. And I really love the movie. I gave it a 9 out of 10. It's really good. James Cameron, it's amazing how James Cameron, after all these years, he still keeps making these great bangers of movies. But we had a couple of horrible people in the theatre that were just talking throughout it, which really ruined it at the same time. They stopped when this Titanic started sinking, but it really did ruin the experience. But I did get a couple of free tickets from the cinema because of it. Am I left-handed? No, I'm right-handed. Best thing to come out of Marvel Phase 4? Ooh, that's a good question. The best thing I would say... Ooh, what was it? Werewolf by Night. I loved Werewolf by Night. That was really good, even though the ending was kind of bad. Do you watch anime? Yes, ever since a kid. I watched Pokemon, I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! There's more animes Zoids. I used to love watching Zoids as a kid. There's plenty more I used to watch, but I still watch more now, like Death Note as well, and I need to get to watching Season 2 of Demon Slayer. Adam Grunther, another Super Chat. We'll actually end on this Super Chat, because we've actually approached the 9:30 point, so this will be the last question. Adam Grunther also says, Guardians Holiday Special is the best thing for Phase 4 for me. I can definitely see that's definitely on my top list of best things for Phase 4. So, Adam Grunther's question on the Super Chat. Which villain from Knives Out did you like more, Chris Evans or Edward Norton? Also, was Dave Bautista your favourite character in Glass Onion? That's a good question. I would say Edward Norton. He got a bit too superficial at the end, but I think that was the whole point. Chris Evans was also really good. But I gotta say, Edward Norton, his character made me laugh, and just the nerve of his character really took me aback. Whereas Chris Evans, I predicted his character, that he was the one that did it, because he came so late in the movie, and just the way he was introduced, and the way they sort of like gave clues to him, I was like, he's got to be the one, and he was the one. Okay, everyone, so that is it. That is the end of the live stream. Please do let me know what you guys thought. If you have any criticisms or anything that you would like to let me know as to how I can make these live streams better, I'm all ears, because this is like my first true live stream where I'm on a computer and I've got all this stuff set up. The fact that I was able to work this software as well as I did and swap the text out on the verses cancelled and stuff. The fact I was able to do that on the first time, I'm actually surprised. And thanks to you guys for letting me know that everything's been working fine, because unlike other softwares and editing softwares where you can actually work with these, like, test out the software, with this I can't test it out. I can just ask you guys, do you see what I've done? And you guys can only say yes or no. So thanks very much for helping me out on this live stream, and thanks very much for listening, and thank you Adam Grunter and everyone for your super chats. I really do appreciate that. I'm gonna get some food because I've not eaten, and then I'm gonna head on doing some more late night script reading. So thanks very much guys always for watching. Thank you very much, and I will see all of you very, very soon. Take care.